All right, good morning. We got Thursday, December 7th. Oh, my goodness. Was it Pearl Harbor Day? I think it might be. It is good to have you here. Thank you so very much for stopping on by the Plus. I see many have assembled already before the show even starts. The good mornings, the greetings, the salutations are already happening in the chat. So I wish you a very good morning. And I got to tell you right off the rip, I just took a sip and we are there. That's like the earliest sip of the day in a long time, but it's on point. I mean, let's get it right. When it's on point, we want to report that it's on point. There it is, right there. Sip of the day. Hey, it is never like me to say anything in football is easy because it's not, right? I mean, the entire NFL is set up to strip you of your success, to rob you of your good decisions, to make sure players that you used to be able to afford now no longer can be afforded. I mean, football is there. A little hair. Football is there to tear it all apart. Nothing is ever easy, especially rivals within your own division. Look, once we get to 49ers and Cardinals, as bad of a year the Cardinals are going to have, there's always a little something there for the 49ers. They've always got that. And the ultimate example of that team is the Seattle Seahawks, who, by the thumbnail, you know who's coming to town this weekend. It is DK Metcalf and the Seattle Seahawks. And I never like to tell you that beating a team is as simple as just doing one thing. But the more that I look at it, just being honest with myself, being honest with who I think the 49ers are, who they've proven themselves to be time and time again against the Seattle team, based on what Seattle's really got, who they're coming in with, and what it's got going for them, it's as simple as this, Niners fans. You shut down DK Metcalf, you're going to win this football game. It's just really that simple. It's the 49ers have had an easy time with the Seahawks over the past couple of years. They really have. And David Lombardi is all over this. He just looks at this entire matchup through the prism of defensive line win rates. And the 49ers defensive line spends more than 2 weeks a year just whooping on the Seattle Seahawks. That's how badly they do it. I really mean it. They have crumbled that Seahawks offensive line in their last 4 or 5 matchups. And why would that be any different this time around, especially with Seattle having a 3-game losing streak? They're retreating a little bit. Feels like the 49ers are coming on, especially that defensive line since the bye week and the Chase Young acquisition. And everything that could be going right for the Niners feels like it's going right. And a lot of things that could be going wrong for the Seahawks are going wrong for them. And like Lombardi is all over this. The win rates against Seattle up front are overwhelming success across the board, to the man, by the position. So there are 2 real areas of concern. I think the 49ers are going to beat them at the line of scrimmage. I think the 49ers are going to contain this running game. That means it's a one-dimensional offense already, and that is bad news for Geno Smith. Again, look at all these win rates up front for the 49ers defensive line, specifically against Seattle. So now it's, well, someone's going to have just a monster day. And the guy most likely to have the monster day is probably the monster. And the monster in this instance, waiting in the closet for the 49ers, is DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, he's got a lot of punk tendencies. He is definitely an after-the-whistle All-American. That's when he'll get up in your face and start barking at you and shoving you and pushing you around a little bit. DK Metcalf has got those on-field squabbles, but they usually come after the whistle. They come when he knows that people are watching him. He wants as much static as a 49er as any wide receiver wants, which means he really doesn't want that much static, even though he is built like Thor. He's also a guy who's got a body and an ability to have a Randy Moss afternoon on you. And that's the afternoon that DK Metcalf just had in Dallas. He went full on Randy Moss, 6 catches, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Like if he had the ball, chances are he was scoring with it. He was taking balls in on slant routes from 70 yards out. I mean, he had a monster afternoon. And outside of that happening, a DK Metcalf played the best game of his career last week, and he follows it with an even better game. That's the only way the Seahawks really got a chance to win this game, to be in this football game. The 49ers are the better team every single where that you look right now. You know, Metcalf is going to average 22, 25 yards a catch. All right, well, there's your problem. So now who's most responsible for this? It's simple. If Moody, and not Moses Moody, if Mooney Ward, sorry, we'll get to Moody later. If Travarius Ward comes out and has a really good day against DK Metcalf, and that is what he did on Thanksgiving. DK Metcalf, 3 catches, 32 yards, and didn't score on Thanksgiving. That's why the Seahawks did nothing on Thanksgiving. They do that again to DK Metcalf. Levi Stadium on Sunday could be one of the easier walks in the park that any football team is afforded in a division rival that, again, always plays hard, always plays right. The Seahawks got a real good culture. It's all Pete Carroll. It really is. But they're just banged up in their backfield, and the 49ers have been whooping them in the category that when the 49ers start whooping ass in this category, things change quickly. So outside of DK Metcalf going bonkers on the San Francisco 49ers, I do not see a path to victory for the Seahawks without the Niners making a ton of self-inflicted wounds. I mean, the path to victory has to be aided by a whole bunch of Niners mistakes. This always brings me back to special teams where, again, Ray McLeod wasn't available. They put Ronnie Bell in. They've had fumbled punts 2 weeks in a row. Clean that up. I'm always worried about Pete trying to steal a possession with an onside that you don't expect, or a punt fake, or a field goal fake. Like I know I sound like a broken record when we get to the Seahawks, and I say this every single time, but that is where they are. They're a little bit desperate, and they're a little bit just frisky enough to try something desperate. You know, Pete Carroll does not mind going out on his shield. He will try to win a game, even though when the odds are, you ain't going to win this game. And the odds are the Seahawks ain't going to win this game. So he's already walking in with basically nothing to lose and a devil-may-care attitude. So handle your business. Don't make the cataclysmic self-inflicted wounds. Protect the ball. Basically, if the Niners don't step on their own dicks, I don't think the Seahawks can step on their dicks for them. There's my official analysis. You're not going to get that on NFL Network, kids. You got to come to the Plus for that. You're welcome. Again, I always hate to boil the very complicated game of football down to one thing, one guy. I think we got the one thing, the one guy here. But for DK Metcalf turns into Jerry Rice on steroids, Niners should be good. Niners should be good. If you are in the market for not just good, but great 49ers content, I want to invite everyone watching right now. Please hit like and subscribe, by the way. And if you hit notify, you'll never miss things that you might not know when they were happening otherwise. 49ers wake up 8 a.m. Friday morning. We're doing ones on Friday and on Monday. Pretty much you get 2 49ers wake-ups a week now. Yours truly, Larry Krueger, simulcasting across both of our channels. So you don't have to click on anything other than Damon Bruce and the Plus to watch 49ers wake up 8 a.m. Friday morning. The best content you're going to find around the 49ers, and a whole bunch of people flocking to us in the last few weeks. Just cannot be wrong. So I hope you plan on flocking on over and getting up earliest flock on Friday morning. Here's the thing. Maybe 8 a.m. is not really early for you. 8 a.m. used to be very early for me. You get 2 kids, and then all of a sudden you sleep in past 6:30. It feels like a miracle. So that's why 49ers wake up starts at 8 a.m. On Monday, though, oh my gosh, Jillian's going to be out of town, which means I'm on full-on dad drop-off duty. So we might have an 8:30 Monday start, but Friday, 49ers wake up 8 a.m. Larry Krueger and yours truly will get you ready for the 49ers and Seahawks and the coming NFL weekend better than anybody else. We will also do things like cover the stories around the Niners, and today is a goodbye and thanks for the memories officially to Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould is retiring. He's put in the paperwork. It is official. When everyone was worried about Jake Moody earlier in the year, there was a lot of, call Robbie. Well, I don't know if Robbie ever picked up that phone if he really wanted to. He might have had like a little audition to kick somewhere this year, but it wasn't with the Niners. Niners never came off their draft pick, and Robbie's phone never really rang. And he retires. This is not an exaggeration. Robbie Gould, one of the best, most successful, accurate kickers in football history. He retires 10th all time in NFL scoring. That's impressive. He was a longtime Bears kicker. He spent 1 year with the New York Giants before coming out and becoming a Niner for the final 6 seasons of his career. And his true claim to fame, and really, if you want to say that the only kicks that really matter are kicks in the postseason, then without a doubt, Robbie Gould is the greatest postseason kicker ever because, folks, he was 29-29. 29-29 on his postseason field goals spread across 8 games, and he never missed one. You can't do much better than never missed one. So, Robbie Gould, hell of a kicker. We don't usually get excited about kickers. There's no reason to get excited about kickers unless they're doing something wrong. Most of the time, you just assume, they're going to go out there and do it. Well, with Robbie, that was a really safe assumption to make, especially if it was the postseason. So, au revoir to Robbie Gould. And au revoir, if you don't mind me saying, I thought we had kind of reached our end of this conversation, but we do have a final footnote on Dre Greenlaw versus Dom the security guard in Philadelphia. I saw today that we do have peace in our time. Well, thank goodness. Just when you thought the world couldn't get any crazier, we find a little peace. And that's good, I guess, right? Apparently, through intermediaries, and John Lynch playing a role in this himself, he brokered a peace talk between Dre Greenlaw and Dom the security guard. And everything's cool now. Everything's fine. As I've been saying, look, I was one of the first to criticize Dom's, and I made fun of him, but I always said that he didn't deserve to lose his job, and I don't think he's going to be losing his job. What he should lose is his sideline pass for the remainder of the year. The same way that the Dolphins photographer who might have been involved in a Tyreek Hill touchdown celebration lost their press credential for the remainder of the year. The NFL yesterday, Wednesday, set out a memo that was basically, put out because of Dom. And the memo said that club personnel are under no circumstances allowed to engage or make physical contact with another club's players or personnel. The league asked teams to ensure that all members of game day operations understand that their role does not extend to being involved with game day altercations. So the Dom memo was sent out. It was a hell of a memo, NFL. And I think that that's where we can officially leave it. We've survived. Peace has been brokered. And there will be happiness across the land of football after all. Week 13 officially comes roaring in. That's probably an exaggeration with the game that you get Thursday night football. Al Michaels, I can already hear him pretending to be interested in this one. Al Michaels has got Patriots and Steelers on Thursday night football. They got to be, this is one of those games where if you're Amazon Prime, you ask yourself, we paid $1 billion for this? It ain't pretty. It's not going to be a pretty game. 49ers, look, still a lot of football left technically, but they basically can wrap up the NFC West with a win over the Seahawks. I think we all think and assume that that's going to happen. I just gave you the reasons why it certainly should happen. Whether or not this game is interesting beyond how interested 49ers fans in it or Seahawks fans in it, I don't know how much general interest there is in the world of football about 49ers Seahawks because it looks easy to predict. Less easy to predict is the lack of status that, again, early season schedules come out and you start looking at every team's schedule and you start looking at, ooh, look at this week. Look at that. Ooh, look at this matchup. Ooh, late in the season, this could really, really affect some AFC standings. And that's what was supposed to be coming to Arrowhead, but the team that's coming to Arrowhead has only won once on the road. And if we really wanted to measure everyone based on what we thought you might be and who you really are, I don't think there's a more disappointing team in football than the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills roar into Arrowhead. Oh, Bills and Chiefs. That's going to be awesome, right? Well, maybe not. Or maybe. Maybe these two teams bring out the very best in each other, but the game's lost a lot of luster, especially with Kansas City just catching its fourth loss of the year. Again, Kansas City's 8-4. That's a very good record. They're a very good team. Buffalo is 1-4 on the road. They're 6-6 overall. They're the biggest disappointment in the NFL. Attached to preseason expectations with no, hey, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles 4 plays into the year. You know, the Jets obviously had big expectations, but we know why those expectations were stripped from them so quickly. There's no reason why the Bills should be having the year that they're having, other than the fact that it feels like the party's over, the magic's over, and maybe, you know, when Josh Allen comes down to earth a little bit, there's no reason to throw friends through folding tables in parking lots in upstate New York anymore. It's disappointing. Bills and Chiefs isn't as sexy as it should be. Jags and Browns, never meant to be sexy, but could have absolutely drifted into interesting had we had some healthy quarterbacks, but we don't. So that kind of robs us of a good one, which means if you're really waiting for the most amount of drama available on Sunday, the NFL saved the best for last. Eagles and Cowboys is your Sunday night football game. 9-2 Eagles team against a 10-3 Cowboys team who are 6-0 at home. Cowboys got an offense that is absolutely cooking right now. They've scored 30 or more in all but one of their wins this season. The Eagles, don't have to tell the 49ers who the Eagles are. We more than covered that going into last week, and the Niners put a big body blow on the Eagles after 3 tough weeks of football for the Eagles, and here comes a 4th tough week of football for the Eagles. It's a division rival, and remember this too, that the Eagles, I was surprised to hear this, the Eagles have not won in Dallas since 2017. That was a long time ago. 2017, Despacito was a big deal back. Well, it's been a long time since Despacito was a big deal. Okay? Not a very good song. Overrated. Justin Bieber attached to it. I never really got it. It's an okay song, but let's not go overboard. Despacito. 2017. That's how long it's been since the Eagles won in Dallas. 2 Monday night football games. I'm pretty sure we don't need either. We got Tennessee at Miami, although Dolphins are interesting and can be fun to watch. Got the Green Bay Packers, who've become interesting. Jordan Love feeling like he's taken a step forward here. They're at the New York Giants, who shouldn't be allowed on anybody's television ever this for the remainder of the year. I mean, the New York Giants are the hardest watch in football, not named the New York Jets, to be completely honest with everyone. So those are 2 Monday night football games that we officially do not need, but will be getting. Oh, great. It's still strong. Speaking of strong, we always want to give a huge, strong, hearty thank you to the sponsors here of the Plus, beginning with our man Ike, again, doing all he can to recruit Shohei Ohtani to San Francisco. Go Ike, keep it up. I want you to get yourself a sandwich at Ike's, and I want you to do it in the next 2-3 days. If you haven't eaten at Ike's, you're out of your mind. It's delicious. There's nearly 100 stores, all available across the West Coast now. And if you open up the Ike's Reward app, you can find out about delivery options near you. Get yourself an Ike's sandwich. They're absolutely delicious. And if you want to support me, support my sponsors. And there is no sponsor that supports me more than my man Ike. Dr. Paul is sponsoring Post Game and Damon, and we will have some Post Game and Damon for you starting at the 2-minute warning of 49ers and Seahawks on Sunday. And the reason why we get going is because I feel spry on a football Sunday, and I feel sprier than I have in years because all the pain in my knee is gone with his cellular replacement therapy, which is a non-surgical, certainly less invasive than knee replacement, partial shoulder, full shoulder replacement surgery. If you have aches, pains, arthritis, go to Dr. Paul. His website is orthopedicsurgeries.com. And if you go to orthopedicsurgeries.com, chances are you could avoid an orthopedic surgery with his advanced medicine doesn't even want you knowing about it, stem cell treatment. I got the Kobe Bryant knees. The Kobe knees, I feel like I could catch 5 innings. I really do. That's a lie. There's no way I could catch 5 innings. Also want to thank mybookie.ag. You're looking to get in the game this weekend. Want to throw a little make it more interesting around. All the great odds, all the great props. You can find it on mybookie.ag. You can find a full casino waiting for you as well. And you use the promo code Damon to get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000 at mybookie.ag. So thank you very much to everyone who is sponsoring. Again, thanks to all the new followers, the new subscribers, whether you be joining me via podcast or the YouTube channel. We have seen a tremendous amount of growth in just the last few weeks, and I thank you so very, very much for doing so. It means you're supporting me, which means you're supporting my family, which means this community rocks. It really is. It really does. I love you guys. What do we got here? We got some chit-chatting already going on. The Shaw saying no trap games, need to win out, no more losses, all the way to Vegas. Look at you talking about reaching the Super Bowl. I love it. Look, if the Eagles stumble in Dallas, if the Lions catch a loss somewhere else, and if the 49ers don't lose another game, the road to the Super Bowl could go through the jeans in the South Bay when it's all said and done. A lot has to happen. It's not control your own destiny time. But, hey, do as much as you can to control your own destiny. There's one that could be a problem game really remaining on the schedule, and that's the Christmas matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. But guess what? We don't need to worry about that for a few more weeks, so we're certainly not going to start right now. One other NFL story before we turn our attention to a few other places. Did you see that a former Jacksonville Jaguars financial employee is accused of stealing not just a little money out of the rainy day fund jar, $22 million apparently embezzled from the franchise over a 4-year period by manipulating a virtual credit card program? We've got documents filed by the U.S. District Court, and our hero's name is Amit Patel. And all I can tell you is that, number one, crime doesn't pay unless you're getting away with it to the tune of $22 million over 4 years, and the NFL's got so much money they didn't even notice the $22 million gone. I mean, eat the rich. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm rooting against this guy. He's accused of stealing $22,221,454.40. He came for that 40 cents too. You got to respect that. And what did he do? He used that money for some really nice purchases for himself, including a condominium in Point Verde Beach. He got himself a Tesla Model 3 sedan, cryptocurrency. So he's an investor. He's trying to, make something of that money. He was chartering private jets. You got to have a little fun, right? I mean, $22 million comes across for the very first time in your life. You're allowed one blowjob on a private jet. I'm sure of that. Like, I'm sure Jillian would even allow me that. Honey, I made $22 million. She's like, oh, private jet blowjob coming up for you, but I'm not involved. She would be like, you go ahead, you contract that out. But good for him. Good for his private jets, his luxury wristwatch. Good for him. Good for him. The only thing that I really want to know about this story is the one element of the story that they didn't really provide. How did he do it? And when did the Jaguars really become aware, and how did they catch it after not noticing 20 million slipping out the door? I mean, what did he install? The software program from Office Space, which was supposed to take a little fractions of a fraction, half of a penny out of the penny jar, except they did it all at once? Like, what the hell went on there? I don't know. I'm not even, look, I'm not even mad. I'm kind of impressed.
Oh, Trent Baalke can't be very happy with this at all. We're trying to run a clean operation here.
Larry and I will have some Baalke-Ralph conversation at the end of each and every 49ers Wake Up now. The people have asked that that's how that show ends.
So we'll have that for you coming tomorrow.
It's the NBA in-season tournament in Vegas. Oh, my God. It's the sporting event America never asked for or necessarily wanted or isn't even pretending means anything, but it's here. It's here, it's in Las Vegas, and it's so important to the NBA. This is such a pivotal moment for the NBA that they've got a game that is getting, I see a copy right now, Joe Fortenbaugh with ESPN Bet all around him is talking about how this is one of the highest in-game totals since 1991. We got over-under on Bucks and Pacers at 257.5. That's a huge number. Lots of offense expected in Las Vegas. And it's going to be such an offensive fireworks show. It's going to do great in prime time, except the game starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Our time. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, West Coast. It's like, what? Because it's an in-season tournament, it's got to have an NCAA tournament tip time. Why not take these games, separate them by a day, and have both of them in prime time? Just throwing that out there. I don't understand it. You got Pacers and Bucks tipping off at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. And you got you got Pelicans and Lakers. That gets going at 6 Eastern, so 9 o'clock. So again, tipping off too late for the East Coast and too early for the West Coast, and a tip-off that's not late enough for the East Coast and way too early for the West Coast on the first game. What are you doing, NBA? What are you doing? I mean, you get all this nonsense pointed towards Vegas and put it on in the middle of the goddamn afternoon. What are you doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. But all right. You know, there's something else going on in basketball that I just do not get. And what I don't get is what is wrong between Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr? What is going on between Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr? I don't know. But there's clearly something there. Steve, there's a maturity problem that Steve has identified, or there's some practice habits that he doesn't like, or there's some moping beyond the scenes or behind the scenes that Kuminga is guilty of or doing. I don't get it. I don't get the weird relationship and you're really important part of the rotation to now you're not even playing in the first half. What is going on in a game where you're getting cooked by inexperienced athletic wings? How is Jonathan Kuminga not getting any minutes in the first half? Anyone else watch that Warriors game against the Portland Trail Blazers? Anybody else watch that? Didn't you notice how the Warriors needed to get longer, faster, and more athletic throughout the entirety of the game? But Steve waited till about 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter before Jonathan Kuminga hit the court. And for a guy who had been benched, he's now closing. That is coaching schizophrenia, okay? That is, I want to send a message here, but then, I need this player so much that he's closing tonight. So can't play in the first half, but you're in the closing unit. That's weird. That's weird. It really is. There is a curious case of Jonathan Kuminga going on right now. I see it. You see it. Now, this goes, to Steve always not trusting young players and sometimes over-trusting his veteran players. And we know that that's part of it. But, man, you got to be in the season that you're in. You can't be coaching with memories and tugging on heartstrings and fond days of yesteryear. Let me tell you, Klay Thompson should be benched for Moses Moody, who's a better player than Klay Thompson is right now. Not all time, not into the history of the franchise, but right now, I would rather see Moses Moody on the court than Klay Thompson, who is a turnover and a missed three, wide open three, over and over and over again. We all love Klay. He is given at the office. He's got a special spot in our hearts. There's a special spot on the bench waiting for that guy the way he's playing. Come on. And that's not a permanent embarrassment. And if going to the bench is something that Steve can sell to anyone, why he can't sell it to Klay, I really don't know. But man, the Warriors need more than what they got. They are getting painfully old in front of our eyes. Now, look, this is coming out of a win. You know, they had a game last night that they could not afford to lose, and they spent most of their game losing it. They rallied at the end, and there were some good things that come out of it. I want to see more Moody. I want to see more Pajemski. I would like to see Trace Jackson Davis. Can we get him in a game? I want to see more Kuminga. And it hurts to say it out loud. It's like ripping Santa Claus. But I want to see less of Klay Thompson. You know, he does not put as much on the table as he takes off of it these days. He just isn't. And I know, Bob Fitzgerald will tell you he's playing much better in his last few games. It still ain't good enough, man. You can't put it in a situation where it's Steph Curry and hopefully Andrew Wiggins isn't a total pussy tonight. And that's where that's the game plan. That's the game plan right now. Now, Draymond, look, he was an assist away from a triple-double against Portland. He had 10, 10, and 9 with 2 blocks. That's good. Warriors Muse hit a really interesting statistic. And maybe it only takes Curry hitting a couple of shots to win a game because Curry, he hit a couple of late shots last night. He hit the 2 that put the Warriors into the lead for the first time. And then he hit the dagger 3, which basically ended the night. And the Warriors are 10-2 this season when Steph Curry makes at least 2 baskets in the fourth quarter. They're 0-7 when he doesn't. And that includes 0-2 in games without him. So Curry can't fall into this. We're so dependent. We're overusing him, and he's tired now in the fourth quarter. You can't do that. And I just don't know what Steve is waiting for in terms of recognizing the clear information that his players are sending back to him. Less of some of these guys, more of some of these guys. How you felt about either group coming into the game really doesn't matter anymore. And it shouldn't matter anymore. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. This isn't a YMCA game. These guys aren't getting, bananas and orange slices at halftime and, dad and mom, come on in. We're really proud of you, Billy. This is high stakes. I don't have to explain what the NBA is to Steve Kerr of all people. It's time for some more athletic, youthful infusion. And in the years past where Steve had youth, but no real reason to play them because they weren't very good. Like, I get it. You can understand all of that in hindsight. We're looking at this in real time. We're watching Moses Moody trying to become a better player in real time. Jonathan Kuminga trying to become a better player in real time. I want to see Brandon Pajemski get better in real time. He's got scrap in him. I like him. More of him, please. Come on. I'm going to wrap up with a little baseball news. A little bit of baseball news for you. So the first big name on the hot stove to be flipped is San Diego's Juan Soto. He's been traded to the New York Yankees for a haul of minor leaguers, which sets up a very promising farm system for the Padres. They've got some really good, young, talented pitchers coming back their way, but let's be completely honest. The Soto and San Diego experiment was a massive failure. It really was. He was supposed to be brought in for 3 postseason appearances, right? Everyone knows that Boris is going to take his little piggy to market. We all get that. We know how Boris works. But in the meantime, under contract, you bring in Soto and you're going to have 3 years. Well, after 2 years, they only had 1 postseason appearance, didn't make it last year, and now his final contract is going to happen in the Bronx. That didn't work out for San Diego. I mean, they had some talent there. That was supposed to be talent together for 3 years. You know, Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, Soto, Snell, Hader. There's a lot of talent on that team. But man, it didn't fit, didn't come together. Feels like that Tatis PED suspension just really screwed up everything. And so now with the big name of Soto off the board, all eyes turn to you-know-who. Shohei Ohtani. San Fran Shohei. The video's up. Look, I mean, he's taken all the tours and has taken all the meetings that he's going to take, apparently, and we are going to be getting a decision, what, by the end of the week? Well, that's technically tomorrow, or it's going to go through the weekend. Does he need more time to think about it? Is there an 11th hour suitor going to try to make a big overture? I need Shohei Ohtani in San Francisco. I think San Francisco needs Shohei Ohtani more than Shohei Ohtani needs San Francisco. But I mean, like, this city should kick in money to get him in here. Tourism, people, interest, coming to the city in the summer. That happens with him, without him, maybe not. And that brings me to the other Giants story today, that John Morosi said that both the Giants and the Padres are active on a center fielder, and they are thinking of free agent Harrison Bader. Look, he's got a good glove. There's no doubt. That's a big center field to patrol at 24 Willie Mays Plaza. A glove of his caliber wouldn't do bad in that outfield. Unfortunately, as a hitter, all he does is bad at the plate. There is no difference between having Harrison Bader in center field or Brandon Crawford. I'm dead serious. You think you got your shortstop of the future? If you're willing to sign Harrison Bader, you might as well give Brandon Crawford a chance to play center field, because you're adding Brandon Crawford, the hitter, if you add Harrison Bader. Bader's got a .232 batting average last season with 7 home runs and a .274 on-base percentage. Guess who also had 7 home runs and a .273 on-base percentage? It was Brandon Crawford, and Brandon Crawford at the plate was unwatchable. So will Harrison Bader be unwatchable at the plate. Oh, he's got a good glove. Who gives a shit? Get some hitters. That's seriously. That if Harrison Bader is Farhan's big free agent signing, I mean, that would just that would not be good. I mean, I can't help you help yourselves, San Francisco Giants. I really can't. Meanwhile, the NL West gets a little trickier. The Arizona Diamondbacks, who, I don't know if you remember this, not a lot of people noticed, they were just in the World Series. The Arizona Diamondbacks have inked left-handed pitcher Eduardo Perez to a very reasonable 4-year, $80 million deal after he opts out of the final year of his in Detroit. Remember, Rodriguez saw the Tigers try to flip him to the Dodgers, only for him to enact the no-trade clause. There aren't a lot of guys who are about to be traded to the Dodgers with a no-trade that say, yeah, I'm using that no-trade clause. He didn't want to be a Dodger. God bless him. So now you take Eduardo Rodriguez and you add him to a rotation that already features Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. It's a pretty good 1, 2, 3. So Giants need Shohei Ohtani. Nothing other than Shohei will do. Again, $800 million, $900 million. I don't care how much the Johnson family needs to bleed out of their eyeballs. Fuck them. Spend the money. Sign Shohei Ohtani. Well, the money's not the only thing he's interested in. Well, put enough money on the table to change his mind about that. Ta-da! Remember, when it is or isn't about money, it's still about money. Shohei Ohtani's got an element of character to him and culture about him that's going to prevent him from falling into that way. Okay, and then you put enough money in front of him, and I bet you that gets his eyes to open towards San Francisco in a way that he might have not. Best offer on the table from a competitor is $550 million. The San Francisco Giants are going to give you $1.1 billion. He'll take the $1.1 billion. I'm dead. I'd give him $1 billion. I don't give a shit. Those beers are going to be expensive at that ballpark, whether they do or don't. There you go. I told you, I'm never going to waste your time. I'm never going to drag you through nonsense that is just nonsense. I don't have to kill 4 hours. I know you got time that's very valuable. I got some time that I pretend is valuable. The time that we spend together is valuable, and it's valuable because I do not waste it. That means it's time to hop into Club Plus, see what everyone is chit-chatting about, all the good folks who stop on by, start meeting, greeting, talking with each other before the show even starts. We're going to see what is on their minds, but if you are just listening on the podcast, I'm going to say thank you so very much for doing that, and please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Disco face. Get sexy with the lights down. And I'm gonna mute that. What, this? That? Is that sexy? Is that good? Does that feel good? Does that look okay? Are we good? Regular Ryan says, man, 12 years ago, Steelers was a marquee matchup with the Patriots. Yeah, not anymore, Ryan. Not anymore. Nathaniel Richards, can't wait to hear Al Michaels tonight. He is going to be so annoyed, especially if he's on the wrong side of the bet. Terrible matchup. Good thing there are Christmas movies on Hallmark. I think it's the first, is it the first night of Hanukkah as well? If you're in the tribe, happy Hanukkah. If it is upon us. Ooh, I think we got our first super chat of the day from Kevin Wood. Playing a team 2 out of 3 weeks, plus having 3 extra days rest feels like a factor we're overlooking. Feels like it pushes the chances down like 10 to 20%. What? I don't. Who are you talking about? You talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys? Tough. It's the way the schedule is. What do we got? Oh, everyone's saying, hey, Lori, there's more than Hallmark Channel. You got the NBA in-season tournament starting at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Damon, do you think Zach Ertz is coming to the 49ers? Lore. Feels like the right idea for him. Feels like if he wants to sign on with a team. Now I know that apparently Kansas City has made an overture to him. I don't know who else is really trying to sidle up to Zach Ertz, but if I were Ertz, I would be very interested in coming to the San Francisco 49ers. And if I were the Niners, I'd be interested in signing him. They got the room to do it. He's another weapon. And you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you should take all the weapons that you get. I'd do it. I would do it. Otis Bird. And damn it, another bad Thursday night football matchup just a few short years ago. Pats Steelers. Yeah, that was a real primetime matchup. It's amazing what happens when Hall of Fame-bound coaches lose their Hall of Fame-bound quarterbacks. Not everything is the same. Excuse me, I have to cough real quick. Wanted to slide that down so you didn't have to suffer through it with me. Don't get on Lori for liking Christmas movies. Some people really like Christmas movies. I pretend to really like Christmas movies because I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old who just want to keep on watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on repeat until jolly old St. Nick comes shuffling down our chimney. Good Lord, I am inundated. Well, I mean, here's the thing. At least some of the Christmas stuff is a little bit better than the Halloween stuff and the Thanksgiving stuff that we had to go through. Thanksgiving children's commercials are painful. Painful. But yeah, it's where I am. At least it's Burl Ives. At least it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But I mean, I can't sleep at night because I already got, why am I such a misfit? We're just on a nitwits. Like all the other silver and gold. Like all the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer earworms that is an actual Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Oh my God. There's a lot of that in this house right now. Pray for me. Pray for me. I'm never rooting for the Cowboys. The 49ers are more than capable of going into the weakest link and beating the Eagles again. Dolanite, I like the theory. That's ridiculous. The choice between going on the road for an NFC title game or hosting it is no choice at all. If you are a smart football fan, you are 1,000,000,000% rooting for the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Eagles, and then you never have to root for them again until it's the next time where something like that happens. Have you ever heard the good old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? That's what this is right here. Some Sun Tzu, man. Get some Art of War about you. This whole, I root against them to infinity no matter what, even if it would benefit me if they won, that's nonsense. I hear you. You know, if you're a Niner fan who doesn't like the Cowboys, congratulations, you've won no special prize. You do not stand out from the rest. You aren't better than any other Niner fan. All Niners fans don't like the Cowboys. Let me explain how this also works. Every football fan in America that isn't an actual Cowboys fan doesn't like the Cowboys. It takes no talent at all to not like the Cowboys. It's easy. It's readily available for most. But you, if you are a smart 49er fan, are 1,000,000,000% rooting for the Dallas Cowboys to win against the Eagles. How about this? 49er Ultimate Report says, I am going to Ike's on Saturday. I will try the Damon Bruce. You're going to love me. You think you like the show? Wait until you try the sandwich. The Shaw saying, go Ike. Took some buddies out to lunch last week at the Davis location. Their first experience at Ike's. They love it. I'm seriously, you watch anybody at Ike's have their first sandwich. It's like they're losing their sandwich virginity. They get so excited. All right, what else we got going on here? RIP Cougar Rebel, congrats on the 13 G's. Yeah, 13,000 subscribers already. I promised everyone. We're talking a bit too much about the subscriptions. I'm excited. You're excited. I appreciate the support. We're just going to do sports content. And when we get to 20,000, then we'll victory lap it all again. But we got a ways to go. But we're off to a good start. That's a lot of weed. What are you talking about? The person who embezzled from Jacksonville? Yeah, 22 million could get you an awful lot. Imagine what JJ Rader could produce for 22 million. UC Steve, that's a heck of an office party fund. Like, seriously, how do you let 22 million just go vanishing from the books? Who's paying attention? It just shows you how bad everybody is at their job. I mean, you'll never see this happen with the 49ers. You want to know why? Because Joan and Payroll is sitting on that wall. You want her on that wall. Joan and Payroll would never allow anything like that to happen. I mean, you know, this is a very good point brought up by Irwin. The guy was stupid to abuse the grift to that extent. But think about it, right? I mean, you've already pulled $10 million out of there. Nobody knows. Nobody's even raised a red flag. No one's looking at you funny. It's tough to just turn that spigot off. You're like, oh my God, look at what I'm getting away with here. I'm getting away with financial murder. I pulled $10 million out of here. No one's even noticed. I'm going to try to pull another $10, $12 million out. Jay Campbell. Hey, that's enough money for an apartment in Palo Alto. Congratulations. It is expensive out here. Hey, Werewolves of Sangers singing my tune. If you're going to steal big. Yeah. I mean, don't take the tip jar when you can take the register, I guess, right? Niners Ultimate Report. An NFL employee taking millions from the Jaguars. Where have I heard that one before, right? I thought it was going to be another Urban Meyer story. An Urban Meyer story. Yeah, private jet blowjobs. Isn't that part of it? I mean, I don't think there's anything even wrong with asking for it. First private jet ride you ever get in your life that should absolutely come with a blowjob. Like, not from an unwilling participant, but you should be so excited together that you know, this is what you do. Let's see. Rockin' New Year's Eve joined us from California Adventure. You got us at the amusement park? Well, yeah, you got to dip out. You got to go get back in line. Get back on a roller coaster. My gosh. There you go. Rockin' New Area 84. Get back to California Adventure. Office Space. It was epic, wasn't it? Wasn't that great? Werewolves of Sanger sent, when you're poor like me, you got to opt for the Amtrak blowjob. Oh, look at it this way. That's only a step up from the Bart blowjob. Asking about the in-season tournament. Will there be confetti and a trophy ceremony? I'm guessing so, right? I mean, they definitely got their brand new trophy, which has been featured in the lane of every game that we've watched. So, yeah, there's going to be a trophy presentation. Confetti, sure, it's Vegas. There's a lot of that there. They'll probably drop some confetti. The real question is, and this is a question I think is a legit question both ways. Let's say you're the Indiana Pacers and you win this thing. Well, the Indiana Pacers are one of the few NBA teams remaining that have never won an NBA championship. So would they dare hang an in-season tournament banner inside of their gym? I mean, would you? If you've never won anything and then you win an in-season tournament, do you hang the banner? And I guess the other side of that question is, if you have won an awful lot, like let's say you're the Lakers and you win the in-season tournament, do you then hang that banner? Like, do you pretend it means what the banners that you actually hang? Do you pretend it's on equal or even in the neighborhood of those? So who's less likely or more likely to hang the in-season tournament banner? A team that's never won anything before or a team that's won multiple things before? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that whoever decides to answer it, no matter how they answer it, if they hang that banner, it's going to get mocked. You know, another way to look at this, imagine if the Warriors had actually gone to this thing and won it. Does Chris Paul really want a ring for this? Do you get a ring? Do you get a ring for an in-season tournament win? Or just a banner? Or do you have to buy your own ring and you can use your $500,000 player prize pool to do that with? I don't know. And I don't care. I do know that. Kind of weird that they put it on at 2 p.m. Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. 2 p.m. is not a sexy time slot. I'm not picking a fight here with R.I.P. Cougar Rebel in any way, but he says, the in-season tournament is garbage and it's pointless. Here's the thing. I've watched some pretty good games. I wish some of these courts hadn't have been as ugly, but trying a little bit harder, NBA players playing just a scotch harder in the month of December, it's not a bad thing. I'm not mad at the NCAA or I'm not mad at the in-season tournament, the NBA's in-season tournament. I'm also not about to pretend that it has stimulated me to the point of basketball arousal or anything like that. It is. The NCAA, I keep on saying NCAA, the in-season tournament, the NBA's in-season tournament is there. That's the most accurate report I can give you. It exists. What you do with that information, I don't think it should inspire you much either way. I don't think it's important enough to really like it or dislike it. I got a lot of strong opinions about a lot of things in sports. My opinion on the I said it almost again, on the NBA's in-season tournament is whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. I'll tell you what's gross is that I heard more about a shooting on a college campus because LeBron actually talked about it than I've seen it actually covered. 3-4 people shot at UNLV, not enough to even make headlines. No one even brings it up anymore. Oh, another campus shooting? UNLV? Might have been a professor or some sort of school employee that did it. Nah, whatever. There's more outrage in America today that Taylor Swift was named Times Person of the Year than there is about a shooting on a college campus. It's gross. So Steve Kerr, 100%, needs to start looking at the season that's happening in front of him and be less attached to the memories that some of these veterans have provided. Rick Mighty Bone Feliciano, Damon Kerr is going to be forced to stop treating Kuminga, Moody, and Pajemski as long-term projects and start playing them. Well, will he be forced? I don't know if you can force Steve Kerr to do anything. I think Steve has earned the right, but if he wants to go down with the ship, not playing these guys would be the right way to do it. I think that they are not just difference makers. I think a few of them represent better options at this point. And maybe what these older guys, Klay Thompson specifically, needs is just to readjust. Think about coming off the bench for a little while. Maybe that buys him a fresher set of legs at any point in a game, and these shooting averages come up to where they should be. It's weird. It's just weird. You got to play the situation, not the plan. Whatever the Giants situation was for free agency this year, they forget about the plan. The situation is you need to spend more money on Shohei Ohtani than anybody. And you need to come with receipts. You literally need to say, we offered him $1 billion fucking dollars and he still went to Toronto. Actually, I don't even know if you should say that out loud because how embarrassing would that be? Irwin says Kerr's post-game comments were self-indicting. He said that Kuminga's playing time will depend on matchups. Well, again, last night, you're getting cooked by athletic wings. That's the matchup to he should have started then. Let's be honest. He should have started the game if it depends on matchups. If it depends on matchups, you need Moses Moody to defend those athletic wings more than you need Klay Thompson out there doing it. kind of nuts. I mean, it's hard to understand. How could some team and someone who knows so much about basketball not be able to recognize what's happening? I mean, maybe it's the you're too deep in the forest to see the trees theory. Christmas movies. What about Melikaliki Maka? No, I'm pro Christmas music. I'm not anti Christmas music. I can do about a week of it. I can do a heavy week of it. You can overdose me for 1 week on Christmas music. My mom really likes it. The kids like it. My wife likes it. But then I have a cutoff point on that. Melikaliki Maka is fantastic. I love Christmas Vacation. That to me is a holiday classic. That movie is I love Christmas Vacation. I love A Christmas Story. I will watch A Christmas Story no fewer than 3 times in the next month or so when it's up on, hell, I'll watch it 3 times when they do 24 hours of A Christmas Story on TNT or whatever on Christmas Day. But luckily we got some NFL football to where I won't need to do that. But I'm very pro holiday spirit, Christmassy stuff. But 30 days of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a lot on a man, on a body, on your mind. It's a lot. Some get it 100%. For this week only, it's Go Cowboys. That's it. Again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Shout out joining payroll. There you go. Yosarian says, Damon, I've been to Ike's 3 times. I've had 2 D-Bruces and 1 backstabber. Jillian's favorite sandwich is the backstabber. And it's really good. I get one sometimes myself, but I also will eat off hers. I know if she's going to get one, I'm going to get a bite, and that's my backstabber bite, and then I get something else. I love the backstabber. Again, try the Adam Richmond, try the Jamie Sirewich. The Madison Bumgarner's really good. Beast Mode's really good. I love the Paul Rubens. A lot of great sandwiches at Ike's. Lots of great sandwiches. Just love for Joan. Say Joan in payroll's name, and people love Joan. Sean. Joan's a boss. Joan gets it done. She does. Krug and Bruce Disciple. I mean, what more of a complimentary avatar name can you have than that? Thank you so much. Cheering for the Cowboys to win so your team can get a higher playoff spot is like voting for an old man who can't complete a sentence because you think an orange guy is mean. Oh, wait a minute. No, because Joe Biden is a better president than you've been given the information because you're trapped in an information news cycle. Look at what that man has done. What's terrible is the Democrats' inability to get their victory messages out. And Donald Trump is not just mean, he is deceitfully evil and looking to weaponize the U.S. government in an autocracy, in a dictatorship that would end democracy as we know it. The choice between the 2 men is not a hard choice to make. You're either on the side of right or you're on the side of billionaire asshole fuckery who will never work for you, not for a day in his life. I don't want to get political today, but one of those guys is a good guy. The other guy should be burnt at the stake in the middle of a town square, and I would throw the gasoline on him. And that's the truth. And I don't want to hear a word that I'm wrong, because I'm not. If you think Donald Trump's a good person, the only thing I'm sure of is that your father was an asshole and didn't raise anyone worthwhile. That's how bad. That's how anti-Trump this channel is. You kidding me? And I grew up a Republican. If you gave me a decent Republican, I would absolutely consider voting for a decent Republican with financial wherewithal and some. I have a lot of conservative leanings, but I'm pro-democracy enough to where I know, and I also am anti-bully enough to know an absolute fucker when I see one, and he's one. I got to be honest with you, Bruce Kruger Disciple. I would like you to change your avatar's name, and I would give you your $10 back if I could. Oh, he asked another question. When are we going to get the Bruce versus Cone debate with Larry as the moderator? Yeah, probably never, because there's nothing to debate. Everything that he's ever said about the Niners has been proven implicitly and cataclysmically wrong to the point where he doesn't even know what he's looking at. And me, not. There you go. Debate's over. I'm right. He's wrong. There's nothing to discuss. So if you didn't vote for either of them, that means you shouldn't even be allowed in the discussion. Don't ever bring up politics. If you're a non-voter, shut the fuck up. Thanks for another super chat. I'd refund you if I could. So there you go. Good or evil? Which side are you on? If you're on evil, take care. But yeah, don't even involve yourself in a political discussion if you can't bother to vote. You haven't earned the right. You are a piece of shit as a citizen. And I hate to tell that to someone who says Krug and Bruce disciple, but that's just the way it is, man. That's just the way it is. And there you go. There's your adult lesson for the day. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to take some calls tomorrow. We're going to do a Sports Phone Friday after a 49ers wake up. And I look forward to hopefully you joining me in both places. We'll begin with 49ers Wake Up at 8 a.m. right here on the Plus. At 11, we're going to do a Sports Phone Friday. We're going to take your calls. Kruger, Bruce Disciple, maybe call in tomorrow, and I'll teach you how adults evaluate real situations. Thank you very much for being a part of this. It is great to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please do remember that, you don't have to go home now. You just can't stay here.